Hi everyone. The video today is all about people who are an embarrassment to themselves. So, let's start with Candace Owens. Now, the World Economic Forum took place in Davos, Switzerland this week, and Owens had this to say. Because the president of France, Emmanuel Macron, was in attendance. He was wearing sunglasses because he has a burst blood vessel in his eye, which is common enough. But Owens, because she is a conspiracy theorist, says, and I quote, "Public speculation is that Brigitte whooped his A again," unquote. And there's a reason why Owens wasn't in attendance at Davos herself, because it's the World Economic Forum, and Owens won't have any money left after the Macrons win their lawsuit against her for defamation. Now, Owens swears up and down that Madame Macron is really a man, so she's insinuating here with a tweet that Brigitte Macron could pummel her husband. I already showed Owens's tweet this month in which he stated it's a fact that Brigitte Macron is a man who committed statutory rape. Outrageous false statement. Now, a day later, Owens tweeted this: "Emmanuel Macron is jailing people who know his wife is a man." Another lie. Owens is persona non grata elsewhere in the world as well, not just at Davos. In 2024, she was denied entry to the nation of Australia after failing the test for good character because of her quote-unquote extremist and inflammatory views. Now, she appealed to Australia's High Court, which unanimously dismissed her appeal just a few months ago. Now, the court cited her past statements, especially about the Holocaust and various sensitive topics, as likely to stir up strife or to harm the community. Now, the court emphasized that the implied freedom of political communication in Australia isn't absolute. And here's a recent anti-Semitic tweet from Owens. She attempts to bolster one of her conspiracies in which she stated Jewish people were in control of the transatlantic slave trade in America. Now, that was from her podcast last year. She claimed that Jewish control was, and I quote, "the true history of slavery," unquote. As I mentioned at the outset, she is an embarrassment to herself. And speaking of embarrassments, we remember this individual.
As you can see, all these pretend Christians, all these...
He stormed the church in Minneapolis along with BLM and Don Lemon. Now, his name is William Kelly, aka Da Woke Farmer. Turns out he's a professional protester who just raised over $70,000 on GoFundMe to allow him to continue harassing ICE officers, whom he calls the Gestapo. Now, he was arrested and charged with violating the FACE Act and the Ku Klux Klan Act. Now, those are civil rights statutes that provide for criminal prosecution. Kelly says on the GoFundMe page that he's exercising his First Amendment rights, but he violated the First Amendment rights of the churchgoers in Minneapolis. Now, freedom of religion is part of the First Amendment, which a lot of these professional protesters know nothing about. I believe he was denied bond as well.
Kristi Noem, the bird-legged fucking hoe that she is, has said she's coming to arrest us all tonight.
And she did. Now, if he doesn't have a criminal history already, I'd be surprised. He's harassed churchgoers before, in Washington, D.C. at Pete Hegseth's church. William Kelly is a regular there, according to reports, screaming at children. He's also posted a video complaining about the Clintons being subpoenaed to testify about Epstein, which might seem odd for a social justice warrior who cares so much about victims, but that's only when he's not screaming at them in a church, I guess. In any event, supporting the Clintons isn't surprising for a professional protester, which is what he is. Now, here's a video clip of Kelly being outraged about the supposed witch hunt against the Clintons.
They don't fucking care. They don't believe in the rule of law. They're fascists. They're now going after fucking the Clintons for the Epstein files? What the fuck?
So he is a stone cold paid protester. Now, Nakima Levy Armstrong was arrested as well. She's a civil rights attorney with BLM, and she's ordained as a minister in the United Churches of Christ. Now, the church she invaded in Minneapolis, though, is part of the Southern Baptist Convention.
How dare you claim to be a pastor of God and you are involved in evil in our community?
Now, lawyers for the Southern Baptists are very thankful for her arrest. She was charged under the Ku Klux Klan Act. It seems there could be a money trail there with Armstrong as well, as she seems very much part of the protest industry now. She's a former president of the NAACP in Minneapolis and former professor of law at the University of St. Thomas. She's been arrested multiple times related to her protest activities. Now, the DOJ identified her as one of the key organizers of storming the church, but the magistrate judge apparently said there was no probable cause for the FACE Act charge for Ms. Armstrong. Now, the FACE Act prohibits using force, the threat of force, or intimidation to block access to the exercise of a constitutional right. Now, this is a close-up of the arrest warrant for a third defendant, Chantel Louisa Allen. I'll show her picture in a minute, but the two women, Nakima Armstrong and Chantel Allen, are only being charged under the KKK Act for now. Apparently, the magistrate judge has a connection with the office of the state attorney general, Keith Ellison.
They good engage each other, that will be dealt with in the legal process, and we will be unrelenting in getting to the truth.
Ellison is refusing to charge these offenders with any charge at all. So the magistrate judge doesn't see eye to eye with the feds. Now, the FACE Act charge could be added later, though. Multiple charges could be added. And here's Chantel Louisa Allen. Now, the magistrate judge refused to deny bail for Allen and Armstrong, the two women, but the DOJ is appealing that decision, and both women will be jailed at a minimum until the appeal is decided regarding the denial of pretrial detention. And what about Don Lemon? The magistrate judge refused to sign the arrest warrant for any charges regarding Don Lemon, but he could be charged later. Now, here he is talking about what happens next for him.
Look, I stand proud and I stand tall. This is not a victory lap for me because it's not over. They're going to try again and they're going to try again. And guess what? Here I am. Keep trying. That's not going to stop me from being a journalist. You're not going to diminish my voice. Go ahead, make me into the new Jimmy Kimmel if you want. Because I'm not going anywhere and I'm going to believe the same things, whether you want to, whatever. None of this is about justice. This is about power, and it's about people who are incompetent.
Now, it's strange to me that he compares himself to Jimmy Kimmel because Kimmel wasn't being investigated for a federal crime. Now, Kimmel wasn't looking at potential prison time, and if Don Lemon is charged, what if he's held without bond? Now, the DOJ wants no bond for the ringleaders. Don Lemon could be viewed as a ringleader. It will depend on the evidence. Now, he caught a break with the magistrate judge, but it might be different with the grand jury. So, potentially, Don Lemon could be sitting in jail until trial, and he could serve a sentence after the trial, depending on the outcome. That puts him in the P. Diddy category. So what Don Lemon is looking at is much more serious than the Jimmy Kimmel dust-up. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe.